Dear listeners, welcome to an explosive broadcast that could set the world on fire. Imagine this in the hot days of January 2026, where tensions in the Middle East are exploding like a powder keg. A drama of betrayal, revenge, and bloody confrontation is unfolding. We are reporting live from the heart of the conflict, where the Iranian regime, this brutal theocracy that oppresses millions, is facing off against brave rebels and international forces. Today we reveal something shocking. For the first time since the 1979 revolution, an IRGC headquarters has fallen. War seems inevitable, and this is the urgent warning from several intelligence sources. According to a brand new report from Reuters, a US military strike against Iran could occur within the next 24 hours. Consequently, Iran has declared a state of war, and the country is effectively under martial law, a desperate measure by a regime descending into panic while its enemies lie in wait. If war comes, it will rage on multiple fronts with unimaginable hatred and destruction. Let's start with the IRGC headquarters, the symbol of oppression. The Kurdish militant group PJAK triumphantly announces that it has destroyed an IRGC headquarters in Kermanshah, bloody retaliation for their martyred comrades. The regime, blind with rage, has mobilized tens of thousands of Iranian forces to strike back. Imagine the scene on January 10, 2026. Kurdish fighters armed with modern rifles and grenades storm the fortified building. The attack begins at dawn with precise shots from ambush. Over 50 IRGC guards fall in the first few minutes, their screams echoing through the night. The Kurds, driven by decades of hatred against Persian dominance, blow the gates with improvised explosive devices, creating a pressure wave that shatters windows within a 200-meter radius. Inside, fierce close-quarters combat rages. Kurdish guerrillas trained in the mountains of Iraqi Kurdistan slaughter IRGC elite soldiers who respond with machine guns and tear gas. Statistics from secret sources speak of over 200 regime forces killed, while the Kurds suffer only minimal losses, proof of their superior tactics and the crumbling morale of the IRGC. The regime sends tanks and helicopters to retake the site, but the Kurds have laid mines that blow up 3 tanks and tear dozens of soldiers to pieces. This operation is pure revenge. For every killed Kurd, 10 regime dogs fall, as the PJAK puts it. The hatred seethes. The Kurds see the IRGC as the executioners of their people, while the regime brands the Kurds as traitors and separatists who want to tear the country apart. If this news is confirmed, it marks a monumental shift in the revolution. It's no longer just about protests. This is armed resistance taking control. For the first time since the 1979 revolution, an IRGC headquarters has captured, a blow to the heart of the theocracy. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is the regime's elite unit created to protect the mullahs from internal and external threats. They are not a regular army. They are fanatics who defend the Islamic regime, not the Iranian people. Their name doesn't even contain Iran, a clear sign of their hatred for everything national that does not serve their radical ideology. The Kurds, an ethnic minority of about 10 million in Iran's western provinces, differ from Persians in language, culture, and a long history of resistance against Tehran. Groups like PJAK and KDPI have fought for autonomy for decades, often from bases in Iraqi Kurdistan. The regime has brutally crushed Kurdish uprisings with mass executions and bombardments that wiped out entire villages. Thousands of civilians died in past campaigns. But now, amidst nationwide protests, economic collapse, and a weakened military position after Israeli strikes reduced their missile arsenals by 40%, the Kurds are striking back. Armed groups capturing regime installations elevate the conflict to a new level. The risk of a broad civil war is exploding. Regime change will be bloody once it reaches this point. Historians warn of scenarios like Syria, where millions fled and cities lay in ruins. As if that weren't shocking enough, An Israeli journalist shares a report that should never have gone public, a scandal that pushes the hatred between Israel and Iran to the limit. Journalist Tamir Morag reveals that foreign actors are equipping protesters in Iran with live firearms, costing hundreds of regime forces their lives. Guess who is behind it? The regime itself provides the answer: Israel. The Iranian foreign minister fumes. Israel has always tried to drag the USA into wars to fight for them. This time, they are saying the quiet part out loud, an act of pure provocation. Of course, it is only a journalist speaking, not Israel officially, but the hatred blazes. Israel is allegedly arming the protesters to topple the regime, and this leads to hundreds of deaths. Rumors circulate of secret Mossad operations smuggling containers full of AK-47s and grenades across the borders from Iraq or Turkey. The Iranian president should know where he has to go to stop the murders: directly to Tel Aviv, where the Zionists are supposedly cheering for every fallen IRGC soldier. Dear listeners, what did you think? Is Israel really the puppeteer behind this chaos? Or is this just regime propaganda to distract from its own failures? Share your opinions with us, call in, or write in the comments. Let's discuss whether this conflict will escalate and who the true villains are. Clarification is important. These protests began on their own strength. The Iranian people took to the streets because the regime focused on enriching the elites instead of providing for the middle class. It was an economic outcry that turned into something bigger, a firestorm of hatred against the mullahs. Iranians have been protesting against the Islamic regime for decades: 1991, 2009, 2019, 2021, 2022, and countless more that I forget because there are so many. Every time the regime crushed the demonstrators with tanks and executions, thousands died in torture chambers. Yet the grievances remain: poverty, corruption, oppression of women and minorities. That is why an economic protest became a revolution, a simmering hatred that hates the regime for its cruelty. Remember, if the revolution wins, conspiracy theories will circulate in 5 or 10 years that it was a CIA coup. Like in Ukraine with Maidan, Ukrainians overthrew their corrupt government and Putin blamed the CIA to justify invading. Similar here, this tweet from a journalist is being misused as proof. Of course, Mossad is involved, the USA is helping, but the protests started because the regime betrays its people. They didn't start because the CIA paid millions. That's impossible. Even the Iranian president admits the people are dissatisfied. We are at fault. Don't look for America. We must serve, manage resources, solve problems. He confesses failure. We consume 6 times more electricity than Europe proportionally. Our people are starving because we manage poorly. Nevertheless, the regime continues to crack down, and leaked footage forces storm a hospital in Tehran, gas it, smash doors, and drag out wounded protesters. Anyone who stops is beaten with clubs. Shotguns fire inside a massacre in a sanctuary. Over 50 injured are mistreated. Blood flows across hospital floors. This is the hatred of the regime. No mercy, only brutality against its own people. This is exactly why a US strike seems imminent. Reuters quotes a European official: "All signals point to an imminent US attack. Unpredictability is strategy." 2 others say intervention is possible within 24 hours. An Israeli official: "Trump has decided. Scope and timing are unclear." This fits the movements the US is withdrawing personnel from bases in the Middle East, from Qatar and Kuwait. Why? Preparation for war. Rumors of B-52 bombers taking off and aircraft carriers positioning. And worse, Iranian state TV is threatening to assassinate Trump. They show his photo after the Pennsylvania assassination attempt with the text, "The next shot will not miss." A direct provocation that ignites hatred. Trump as a target of the mullahs. Dear listeners, what do you think of this? Will the US strike destroy Iran, or will it escalate into a world war? Do you believe the Kurds will win? Share your thoughts. We want to hear them. This conflict on January 16, 2026 is a powder keg. Kurds against the IRGC, protesters against the regime. Israel and the USA lying in wait. The regime, weakened by sanctions, is losing control. Rumors of desertions in the army, thousands of soldiers fleeing. The PJAK has attacked 15 IRGC posts in recent weeks with 500 dead. The regime responds with airstrikes that destroy villages and kill 300 civilians. Dramatic turns: Mossad agents are said to be operating in Tehran, carrying out acts of sabotage, explosions in ammunition depots costing billions. The hatred is palpable. The regime calls Kurds terrorists financed by Zionists. Kurds call for holy revenge. International tension. Trump threatens total destruction. Iran mobilizes 500,000 reservists. Stay tuned, the next strike could change everything.